Hello, my dear children. Namaste, and welcome to another motivational session by your biology master teacher, Ambika. Hope all of you are doing absolutely great and staying in good health and staying happy. Because, as I always have been telling all of you, my dear children, this is most important, especially during the current pandemic, the current difficult times that all of us are going through, right? So stay happy, stay healthy, and everything else will automatically follow. And let's not worry too much about it, because life, as it was before, will certainly get back to normal, hopefully very soon. Okay, so let's just do our part until then. And with that, let us get started. Today, I was just wondering what to talk to you about, and that's when something struck me that there is something that teenagers, probably children of most age groups, especially teenagers and adults, equally fear. There is a term, failure, right? So I thought, okay, it's perhaps a good idea to talk to you and make it clear, make the fact clear that it's actually okay to fail. What do I mean by that? Okay, it's actually really okay to fail. So just stay with me for the next 10-12 minutes to hear a few stories about what I have to tell you about this. Perhaps all your teachers and many different motivational speakers would have told you their versions, their stories also. So today I would like to share something that I feel might be useful for all of you, okay, especially as young teenagers around your age group. Okay, so to start off, I think, in my opinion, the word failure is just another 7-letter word in English. There is nothing to fear about the word failure. Perhaps why the reason we start fearing the word failure is probably, I think it starts as young as when we are in primary school or in school in general, because your teachers keep telling you, you either pass your exams or you fail. So pass, fail all the time. That's like ringing in your head so much, such that eventually you end up, you come out of school having imprinted in your brain that failing or failure is something really, really bad, really, really embarrassing. But you know what? Definitely, and in reality, in practical life, leave alone exams. It's not just exams which happen in your life. Take the case of any highly successful person in the entire world. They would certainly have a lot of failure stories to share with you. Perhaps we are just, looking at or reading about or hearing about their success stories. But what took them to reach that position? I'm sure all of them would have enough content to write an entire book about their journey towards success. So what I'm trying to tell you is failure is certainly very, very normal. Now, let me just tell you a small story. Perhaps some of you would know this, some of you may not know this, but anyway, this is for all of you. You would find this relevant also. A story about two gentlemen who had a lot of work experience from one of the most reputed companies in the world. Okay, after a lot of work experience, they somehow, for some reason, they decided to quit the job and went on for an interview at another highly reputed company in the world. But what happened was, unexpectedly or sadly for them, that company rejected both of them. So what did they do? They were like, okay, we've had a lot of very good experience and perhaps we would have been among the best possible candidates for them. But then these guys have rejected us. What do we do now? Instead of feeling bad about having got rejected, they just went on, and their passion for technology and passion to find something new drove them to a position where they came up with an idea, with a concept, with a unique concept of having developed their own mobile application, which would practically be usable for anyone in the world. And today, my dear children, that is, I would say, the most popular mobile app in the entire world. What is it? WhatsApp. And I'm sure all of you know what WhatsApp is. I don't have to tell you more about it, because it's an app, it's a mobile application that's made communication so quick and so easy and so affordable to everyone. Anyone with even a basic smartphone can use this to communicate with someone else very, very quickly, right? So what happened? They ended up having developed this, and then very, very soon, very, very quickly, it started gaining a lot of users. It started gaining a lot of popularity, as I said, among all kinds of people, starting from the common man to the richest of people, right? So, and then what happened was that the company which had rejected them, I'm talking about the two gentlemen who found WhatsApp. For those of you who don't know their names, they are Brian Acton and Jan Combe, and they had been. I told you a company rejected them, right? That company which had rejected them was Facebook. So what happened was that most of you would know about, I think 4 or 5 years ago, Facebook ended up approaching them regarding taking over WhatsApp, and they expressed their desire to take over WhatsApp. And today, these two gentlemen, Acton and Coombe, are among the richest people in the entire world. So it's not that I'm trying to equate being successful with being economically rich. That's not the moral of the story. But think about it at a deeper level. What are the takeaways that you can come up with from the story that I just told you? Well, I think basically this story reveals three major realities about failure. First is that failure lets you discover new paths. Imagine, had they not been rejected by Facebook and had they been hired when they went for an interview, would we have WhatsApp? Would we even have had WhatsApp today? Perhaps something very similar to this or very close to this, but maybe in a completely different form. You don't know. Anyway, this is what happened. And that happened only because they discovered a new path because of having got rejected elsewhere, right? Secondly, I think multiple failures, you face multiple failures, and eventually, when you encounter success, you learn how to value that success. Success feels a lot more sweeter to you as compared to how it would have been otherwise. In the sense, if you have been a person who always succeeds in everything, succeeded all the time in anything and everything, be it a game, a sport, or anything and everything that you have done in life, perhaps you may not know how to value success. But then it's very, very important to value success and give it enough respect and feel it completely in you. And that can come only if you have faced failure once, twice, a few, or multiple times, right? So that is the second takeaway from this story. And thirdly, certainly failure makes you a much, much stronger person than anything else. Okay, so I don't think I have to explain that point. It's quite self-explanatory. So these are the three takeaways from this story, and let's learn this lesson, children, about how useful failure can be to all of us. Well, now coming back to thinking about why then do we even fear failure in the first place? I started off with that, right? When I started talking, I think what I can think of is maybe high expectations of parents, high expectations from society, and then for many of us who are addicts of social media, ideally we shouldn't be so. For most of us who are social media addicts for some reason, we may end up having the strong desire to present that perfect or ideal life in front of your friends in social media, right? So that could also be another reason, or it could be anything else like academic pressure. You're just fearing something too much academically, or pressure from your school, pressure from your teachers, pressure from your friends. I mean, peer pressure in terms of academic competition, and so on and on and on. Multiple reasons that you can think of, right? I don't think it's anything else. It's not really a do or die situation. If you fail, okay, you fail, that's it. Go on, try once again. You may succeed, you may not. If you fail again, try once again. Be it 50 times, 100 times, 200 times, whatever. So before I end, I would also like to give a small note to parents out there who are possibly listening to me. So I completely understand that in case there is a time when your child fails in an exam, you may feel very, very upset. You may you may behave very harshly to the child, but my humble request is, please, do not do that. Perhaps you may ask me back, if this happened to your child, would you actually behave normally to the child? Well, I am also a parent, but of course, my child is a lot younger than your teenage children. But then I myself, I'm learning a lot of parenting lessons every day practically. My child is still very young, she's only 6 years old. But I aim to become, and I'm striving to become that kind of a parent who can, uh, you know, maintain an open communication with my child, so that if there is any trouble at all that she is facing, any practical problem that she has been facing, I would be able to help her. So I think as parents, we need to take that responsibility. I completely understand for your child's success alone. You may have sacrificed on a lot of things. You may be working very, very hard day and night. All of that is completely understandable. But despite that, if your child fails in an exam, there could be a reason for it, right? It could be anything. Of course, we can discuss that in a completely different session altogether. But my sincere request is just this: in case that does happen, please try to overcome all your negative feelings and sit down with the child and try to understand what exactly the problem is, what exactly he or she is facing, and how you as a parent and can help your child do better next time. Let's give them another chance, just another chance. The next time, provided they completely understand that you have your full trust in them and faith in them, and as long as they understand that you are always there to support them genuinely, I'm sure our children will be completely fine and they will certainly do a lot better than before. Okay, so let's all, children and parents, all of us, let's just keep in mind the example of Thomas Edison. I think all of you would know the story. Edison is a typical example of a person who is considered to be among the most successful people in the scientific world today, despite having had very, very little formal education. Why did he have very little formal education? Not because his parents did not want to send him to school. It was basically because Edison's teacher in school labeled him as a hyperactive child, and she complained to Edison's mom, Edison's mother, that her son was probably a child with very, very little attention span, very, 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 very less attention span, and that she couldn't have him in her class anymore. But then he was a very curious child, and his curiosity motivated his mother also to teach him, like possibly give him homeschooling as much as possible. And he grew up to become one of the most successful scientists ever known to us, right? And even his story about the discovery of the practically the first practically usable incandescent bulb is also very inspiring, because it's not that in first attempt he got it right. It was after hundreds of failed attempts that Edison came up with this. So I think from Edison's story, another lesson that we can learn is that no matter how many ever times you try, you must literally be so focused on your goal that you don't even have the time to think about your failures. So, what do you do about this? How do you overcome the fear of failure? Now, let me tell you shortly about that. I think there are three simple habits that can be incorporated in all our lives to help us overcome the fear of failure. First of all, let's not fear to take up new challenges. Let's step out of our comfort zone. Let's start exploring new things, different things. You may fail, you may succeed, because only if you take up new challenges would you even realize what you're capable of and what you're not, right? So don't fear to take up new challenges. Worst case, what's going to happen? You fail and you won't be able to do it. That's it. Have a plan B or have a plan C if that also fails. That's it, right? Second habit that you can possibly incorporate in your life is accept the situation. Perhaps you have failed now. Okay, it's happened. What has happened has happened. And instead of fighting it mentally within your mind, accept the reality and analyze what exactly went wrong. What is it that I did this time, or what is it that I did not do this time, so that I do not repeat the same mistakes again in my next attempt. That's it. Analyze what went wrong and learn from it. So that brings me to my third point. I think all of us must learn to learn from our mistakes. Children, you know what? Failure is never a bad thing as long as you learn from your mistakes. If you commit the same mistake over and over again, then it's a problem. Then there is something seriously wrong. But As long as you learn from your current mistakes and don't commit that mistake ever again, or at least within the next few attempts, certainly you are evolving into a better person. You are on the right track. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what do all of us want? I think, in my personal opinion, I would love to have a world where the world is filled with human beings, literally human beings, not people with a lot of negativity in their minds. Let's not be artificial individuals. Let's be people with a lot of human values, trusting and smoothly co-living with each other and our the nature around us, right? That is what I would also sincerely pray the world to be. That's it. How do we come to that? As long as all of us take an oath right now that we will not fear failure anymore in life, I think that's it. We are on the right track. Well, I guess that's about it from my side for today. If there's anything more that you would like to add to whatever I have said, please feel free to add it in the comment section below or drop an email at ambika.gopalakrishnan@vedantu.com. Until we meet again, this is Ambika signing off. Take care, stay happy, and stay healthy. Bye bye.